Here on the channel, we've discussed home security a lot. We've discussed the top 5 reasons to buy security cameras for your house. We've discussed the top locations to put security cameras on your house. We did an ultimate camera buyer's guide where you can kind of get all the pros and cons to each type of camera you can buy for your house. We also discussed the best ways to secure an apartment. But we haven't actually discussed how to generally protect your home. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's go. What up, everybody? It's George Langenbeer with Silverhammer Surveillance. Here at Silverhammer, we're security experts, smart home experts, tell you some crazy shoplifter stories from my loss prevention days. Go back and check some of those out. Very entertaining. My loss prevention career is kind of what brought me to the dance as far as the security world goes. Branched out into smart home, and the rest is history. But today, we're talking security. And I want to thank one of our viewers, Ryan Darby, for the suggestion. I realized that we've talked about a lot of different security things for your house, but we haven't actually talked about the basics, how to secure your home. So that's what we're going to do today. All right, so when we're talking home security, there's a few different ways to do it, and you can kind of combine all the above or just do one or the other. You've got simple things like dogs. Dogs are kind of the best security system ever. Loud barking dogs. They got to be real though, because there's some video doorbells out there that got the fake barking dogs. That doesn't work. You need real dogs. But other than dogs and things like that, how do you secure your home? Well, in my eyes, there's 3 different ways to do it. There's a burglar alarm, which is kind of the old-fashioned way. There's security cameras, and then there's smart home devices. And you can kind of do a combination of all 3. You can do one or the other, or any combination of any of the above. All right, so let's start with the burglar alarms or perimeter alarms. That's where you got the keypad, you got the door and window sensors, you got a loud siren, you got some motion sensors, you got a monitoring service kind of watching out for you. If you look at our past video on why I'm not such a fan of this, it caused a lot of controversy, ruffled some feathers. That's great. Disagree with me all you want, agree with me all you want. We had a lot of people agree, a lot of people disagree. I'm just personally not a fan, but it doesn't mean that it can't be used in conjunction with the other 2. I would just say if you have one single option, this wouldn't be my first choice. But let's talk about it and how it can be effective. All right, so burglar alarms, like I said, you got door window contacts, you got a motion sensor, glass break, you got the alarm panel. Most of them are monitored, so somebody will call the police. All right, so that's great, but my biggest thing about them is, number 1, you've got the monitoring fee. That's a big con. I just don't think you should have to pay somebody to call you before they call the police. Yes, there are certain circumstances where they'll just bypass you and call the police, but that's very rare. You get a lot of false alarms and that kind of thing. Now, there are security systems out there, like the Wifi security system, which I talked about in our video for securing an apartment. That's a great security system because, yeah, you get the door and window contacts, you get the motion sensor, you got the alarm panel, but you don't have to pay the monitoring fee. And that's great because then you are alerted when you're not home. You are alerted when somebody opens the door, breaks the glass, or there's motion in your house, but you don't necessarily have to pay that fee, but you are getting that security. My other problem with the security alarms is basically thieves don't care about them. Now, this is where we might differ in opinion, but I'm telling you, I've busted over 1,000 criminals, and for a lot of that time, I worked at Silverhammer on the side or full-time and worked there part-time, but I've interviewed these people because I had this job, and those thieves will tell you that they do not care about security systems, burglar alarms, because they will be in and out with your stuff before the police even leave the parking lot. And that's no offense to the law enforcement. It's just that's how long it takes them to get notified, for them to respond, and by the time they get there, your stuff is gone. So what is good about a burglar alarm? It's like I said, if it's not being monitored, that's the only thing I really don't believe in is the monitoring fees. I mean, it's a great layer of security. Don't get me wrong. But it's just not as effective as some of the others, which we'll get to. But a burglar alarm is going to make a loud sound when somebody breaks in, and what that's good for is when you're sleeping. So we're going to talk about, like security camera systems. Now, those are great, but most of the alerts for those security camera systems won't wake you up when you're sleeping. They're great when you're awake. You'll get alerted instantly when somebody's in your yard. These camera systems are so smart, they'll alert you, and that's wonderful. But most of the time, we all know on either iOS or Android, those smart alerts don't usually wake you up in the night. And you don't want them to because you get alerted for everything on your phone. Well, for the cameras, that goes the same thing. So they don't technically wake you up at night. So a burglar alarm, somebody breaks in your house, after a certain amount of time they're in there, you've got it set to 5 minutes, whatever it is, that's going to sound that loud siren and it's going to wake you up. So that's where a positive for the burglar alarm comes in. If you're sleeping, it's going to wake you up. So it's just another type of alert. It's going to kind of scare the thief, which is good if you are home. But I'm telling you, after talking to criminal after criminal after criminal, they don't care about the response time. They do care if you're home, unless they're a hardcore home invader, which then you got other problems. But if it's your typical burglar, they don't want you to be home. So if the alarm goes off, they find out somebody's home, they're probably going to bolt for most criminals. Now, on my security system video, I got all sorts of examples that are very specific. People with masks, people doing this. I mean, I'm a person that's been doing this for 25 years, and I'm telling you, you're talking about very specific examples. If a thief wants to get in, and if they are a hardcore enough criminal, they're going to get in, they're going to take your stuff. Home invaders will strong arm you. It's very scary stuff. There are always specific examples that I don't care what security device you have, it's not going to stop them. But in general, you want to do what you can to be proactive. Proactive is the key. So, in the argument of burglar alarms, yes, it is a proactive step. I just don't believe in the monitoring. I just don't believe in the response time. Yeah, anything's a deterrent, but most of these people will tell you that the sign in the yard for a burglar alarm is just as effective as the burglar alarm itself. Because yes, if they see a sign in the yard, they might go to the next house. But if they get to it and they actually start to enter your house, they don't care if there's a burglar alarm unless all of a sudden you do confront them. And yeah, if you had a weapon or something like that, they're going to be scared. They're going to take off. But in general, if you're not home, they don't care. They're going to be in and out with your stuff before the police even leave the parking lot. So what does all that mean? It means that, yes, layer it with other things that we're about to talk about. But in general, I don't find them to be as effective as a security camera system or even some of these smart devices, because they're just smarter than burglar alarms. Burglar alarms, yeah, it's great. Somebody opens the window, somebody opens the door, you get notified, fine, that's great. But in general, the thieves don't care about them. They're going to be in and out with your stuff before the police even leave the parking lot. It gives the police nothing to work with if they do get away, whereas a camera system will give them evidence, which we'll talk about in a second. But to me, it should be a layered thing only. So yes, have security camera systems, have smart devices, which we're going to talk about, and have a burglar alarm if you want it as a layer. But I don't think you need the monitoring. There's very specific cases, which I know you'll all bring up, but I don't think you need it. But if you want to use it as a layer, layers are great. Whatever gives you peace of mind, the more layers you have, if you feel more protected, you feel like your kids are more protected, your family's more protected, by all means, go for it. But in general, it would be the least of the three things I'm talking about today. But anyway, so that's my take on burglar alarms. Watch my video on it. You'll see why I ruffled some feathers, but it's my take. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been talking to a lot of criminals for 20 years. I can just tell you what they've told me and what I've experienced with our customer. And we've got thousands of customers. I can just tell you what gives them peace of mind, what has worked. We've come in after home invasions. We've come in after burglaries. We've come in after car break-ins. We've come in after vandalism. And in a lot of these cases, the burglar alarm wouldn't have done squat. And it wouldn't have given the police any evidence to work with. And so, yeah, if you're sleeping, that loud siren wakes you up, great. If it does deter a certain person from coming in your house because you got a sign in your yard or they see you got one, great. But in general, most thieves don't care about them. But again, it gives you peace of mind. Layer it with something else. Layer it with a camera system, which is what we're going to talk about next. All right, when we're talking about camera systems, you can look at my ultimate security camera buyer's guide. There's kind of different two ways to go. There's a DVR or NVR system where you've got kind of a wired camera system. You've got wires going from the camera back to a DVR. The DVR is kind of the brains of the operation, or an NVR. Again, if you want to know the difference, check out that video. And then on the flip side of that, you got Wi-Fi cameras, very popular like Ring, Nest, some of the HomeKit secure cameras that we've talked about on the channel. So you got Wi-Fi, you've got wired. Now, there's pros and cons to both. And again, check out our other video on that. I'm not going to go into that in too great a detail. But here's why I think camera systems are the first and foremost way to go, and that is being proactive. You don't want to be reactive in any type of thief situation. Break in the car, vandalism, breaking in the house, home invasion, anything like that. You don't want to react after the fact. You want to be proactive. You want to deter it from happening. And camera systems are the way to do it. I promise you, after talking to over 1,000 criminals, they see a security camera or a burglar alarm sign in your yard, yeah, they'll consider it. But if they see cameras in your yard and they don't see cameras on the next house, they're going to the next house. So I say it all the time, cameras will pay for themselves more than you will ever know, because they'll stop something from happening that you didn't even know was going to happen. Because when a thief sees them, they know you can get a facial description. And yes, you're going to bring up specific examples where they're wearing masks. Well, guess what? You still get their height and their weight. You still get if they have any tattoos. You still get the race, female, male, whatever it is. You can get vehicle descriptions, and I don't care if they're covering up the plate. Cars have rust, cars have markings. All those things will help the police. And the police will tell you they've never had so much evidence to deal with because of cameras. When I first started doing this, only shady people had cameras on their house. You had cameras on your house, you were a drug dealer, you were being watched. I've done this for so long. I was one of the first people in our neighborhood to have cameras. I'm sure the cops were watching me. But I just did it because I was a loss prevention person. I was catching crooks for a living. I was starting to get into the silver hammer world. But people were probably, the cops were probably watching me because I look shady. But now everybody's got them, from video doorbells on up. And it gives the police so much evidence to work with. And it doesn't matter if it's you or your neighbors, they'll walk up and down the street until they find somebody with cameras if an incident happens in your neighborhood. And why is that? Because it's the number one way to secure your house. Because it'll give the police evidence. Not only that, but again, we're going back to the deterrence and being proactive. If a thief sees a camera on your house, most likely they're going to go to the next neighborhood. Yes, there are always exceptions. There are hardcore thieves that don't care. But I'm talking in general. And you want to be as proactive as possible and generally protect your home. Cameras are where it's at. So in addition to the deterrence, you also have features like, let's say, the Wi-Fi cameras. All right, you've got the HomeKit secure video cameras. You've got Nest cameras. By the way, Google, we want the new Nest cameras. Look, check out my updates on the Nest IQ if you're a Nest fan. We need those new cameras. We love your cameras. We want to get them back on houses. Bring them back. Tell us when they're coming out. Anyway, going with the Wi-Fi cameras. The reason they're effective is because they are telling you someone is in your yard. You're getting an alert, and then most of them have facial recognition, and you're wiping out all these false alarms. Yes, there are cameras out there that alert you for everything that moves, and those are a problem because you can get alerted for trees blowing in the wind, cats running across the yard, whatever it is. But you want a camera with facial recognition, and those are the most effective because they are telling you there's a person in your yard before they get to your house. Going back to the burglar alarm, it is more of a reactive measure other than the few people that it deters because the person is in your house already. Yes, the alarm's going to go off, the police are going to be called, whatever it may be, but they're already in your house. A camera system with the right facial recognition, the right alerts, will alert you before they get that far, and that's why I think that's number one. You're being more proactive because you're stopping them before they get to your house. With two-way audio, you can be your own alarm system. I had a dumpster diver here one time on a Sunday. There's no one in this complex at my shop. And yes, it was a dumpster, and yes, it was my trash. But the second he entered the parking lot, I got an alert that there was a person in my parking lot. I looked immediately. I saw him. I talked through him through the two-way audio on my camera. I scared the crap out of that guy. He ran across this parking lot faster than I've ever seen anybody run. I wasn't so nice with my words. So yeah, I'm kind of used to dealing with criminals. So I'm not to use some expletives, but I scared the crap out of that guy. And he ran across the parking lot. So forget the fact that it was trash. Let's say he was breaking in, which was very possible. It was a Sunday. This place is secluded. He could have been breaking in. By the way, good luck breaking into this place. But anyway, let's say he was breaking in. I would have known about it immediately, and I would have been able to do the same thing. I would have been able to scare him through the two-way audio. You can say what you want. Say you have a dog. Say you called the police. Say you're inside with a weapon. Whatever you want to say. But with the two-way audio and the facial recognition, you're catching them before they get in. And that is the key. The more proactive, the better. And that's why I'm a bigger fan of the camera system than a burglar alarm. Yes, there are small cloud storage fees depending on which one you get. If you get a DVR or NVR system, and again, go back to our buyer's guide video, then there is no monthly fee. You just get it installed and you're done. Some of the Wi-Fi cameras do have a monthly fee, but they're much lower than the burglar alarms. You know, like the Nest service is $12 a month. That covers all your cameras. You could have 20 cameras and it's only $12 a month. But what you're getting is cloud storage. So, you know, one of the things people worry about with a camera system is if somebody breaks in, they could steal your DVR if you have that type of system. We've never had that happen, but we've had a lot of customers worry about it, and I understand that being a concern. But paying that $12 a month, your storage is always protected. So they could steal everything in your house. They could steal your cameras off your house, but the footage is still protected in the cloud, and you still have something to give the police. And I'm telling you, as somebody that's done this for a long time and somebody that's got thousands of customers that we've helped, the evidence from a camera system far outweighs any other benefit for any other type of security for your house. So keep that in mind. It is the one thing that is going to give the police evidence. So if they do get away with it, you know, you might be proactive and stop it because you have cameras. But if you don't, and they do break in and something happens, you've got video evidence. And again, I don't care if they're wearing masks. I don't care what they're doing. You've got other ways to, you know, to check them out. Physical description, tattoos, height and weight, gender, race, all those things. Vehicle description, where they parked, how many people there were. Each one. Some of them are wearing masks, some of them weren't. You've got video evidence to give the police. And so that's why that's number one. And with the smart features, you know, as you get the Wi-Fi side of things, you can integrate them in with your smart home and have them in one nice app with all your other smart devices. And that's great. With the DVR systems, they're kind of the most reliable because you don't need the internet for them to work. And again, look at our security cameras buyer's guide on that. But either way, just the fact that there's a camera out there, I cannot tell you how many times a camera system probably pays for itself without you knowing it because they saw it, they went to the next house. Much more effective than a burglar alarm sign in your yard because half the time a crook knows that's not even tied to an actual alarm system. That's just a sign you bought. And they'll go in anyway because most of the time they don't care about those, but cameras they do. And I've heard this come out of the criminal's mouth because I've actually detained these people. I've actually had them arrested. So for the people that disagree with me, that's fine. I absolutely respect your opinion. But I'm telling you, I've heard this come out of the horse's mouth, so to speak. So camera systems, very effective. And there's several of them out there. Nest was our most popular Wi-Fi camera. Alibi is the brand we sell for the NVR and DVRs. I'll do a full review on Alibi sometimes. It's the way to go as for a wired camera system. Alibi, ALIBI is the name of the brand. Wi-Fi cameras, there's a lot of them. Nest IQ was our most popular. Unfortunately, not available at the moment. I hope they replace it soon because the features there were just second to none. The quality of the camera was second to none. Very hard to break, very weather proof, very vandal proof. They were great cameras, so hopefully those are coming soon. But you've got a lot of HomeKit secure video options like the Logitech Circle View, great little camera. You know, Ring, I'm going to do a video this next upcoming week on Ring. You'll get my take on Ring. But there's several different options out there. Eufy, we talked about Eufy in our apartment video. Those are great for indoor cameras. They've got a new outdoor camera, which I'm going to put more to the test because I don't want to sell these things without testing them first. But Eufy, everything else I've tried, they've got the burglar alarm I was talking about. If you're going to do a burglar alarm, they're great because they give you the option to have monitored or not monitored. And I like that. So Eufy's another one, and that works with HomeKit. You've got Arlo. My problem with Arlo is a lot of times they're so hard to steal. And then you've got the battery model, which is great in theory. I love the battery option. But when you've got to get up there and charge batteries all the time, it's just not as effective as it can be. And then also, they're just so easy to steal. And thieves will just steal them. Yeah, your video's protected in the cloud, but if you can stop a $300 camera from being stolen, let's stop it from being stolen. But there's great Wi-Fi options out there. There's great wired systems out there. But in general, that's the way to go. You either got the smart features, but in general, you got the most stability. You've got the most proactive approach because they're going to see them. They're going to go to the next house. If they just keep coming and they do something, you've got evidence to give the police. And I can't tell you how important that is, because if you do get victimized, you'd obviously like to have the person caught. So security cameras all the way. All right, so when you're talking about the home, we've talked about burglar alarms, we've talked about security cameras. Let's talk about those smart devices. Now, in general, there's a lot of different ways you can use these smart devices to secure your home, but what I'm going to talk about today is two in general: smart lighting and smart locks. People don't realize how important lighting can be to protecting your home. And smart lighting makes it even easier because you can control them remotely. You can put them on timers. You can put them in automations with different smart platforms. There's a lot of different things you can do with smart lighting, and it can make criminals think you're home when you're not. And depending on the criminal, yes, there are always exceptions, but most criminals don't want you to be home. And so if they think you're home, they're going to go to the next house, and smart lighting can do that. And it's such a simple thing to do. You can get just simple smart bulbs for any window where a crook can see inside, or you can do your whole house and have it be fun with colors and all sorts of things. But in general, for the security aspect of it, just put it where thieves can see, where thieves think you're in there, doing your thing, and then you're home. And there's a ton of different brands like Philips Hue. There's a lot of different ones out there. But smart lighting in general, huge on the security front. It can make people think you're home when you're not. You can use it when you're on vacation. You can use it when you're at work, but you're making people think you're home when you're not. And it's always about being proactive. Proactive, proactive, proactive. Smart lighting is very proactive. And yes, it can be very fun, integrated with doing all sorts of cool things in the smart home. But the security aspect is huge. And people don't think about it, but smart lighting is huge. Moving on to smart locks. Several different smart locks out there. My favorite is the August Wi-Fi lock, but there's the Nest lock. There's a ton of them out there. But again, my favorite is the August Wi-Fi lock. Check it out. You can just replace a deadbolt with this lock. You can control it remotely. You can set it to lock automatically, so you're never forgetting to lock your door. You can control it from your home. You can see who's coming and going. It gives you a list. You designated your family members or any friends you give codes to. It'll tell you when they opened the door, when they left, all that stuff. It'll tell you when the door is left open. If you accidentally leave it open, forget about being unlocked. Let's say you actually leave it open. That's huge. So, if you got a family member in town, you can give them temporary access. Or, depending on your location, you could even give your UPS person or FedEx person access and then revoke it. And then they can't get back in. But there's a lot of different convenience to it, but there's also a lot of security to it. So you can look at your phone and make sure it's locked. You can be on vacation in the Bahamas, check your house, make sure it's locked and secure. So in addition to checking your security cameras and your burglar alarm or whatever it is, all this stuff you can check remotely now, but the lock thing is huge. So you can leave with the peace of mind knowing that you didn't leave your door unlocked. These locks are smart enough to know when you're coming and going, so when you're walking up to it, it'll unlock. When you're walking away from it, it will lock. It knows it's you by the Bluetooth location of your phone. It's very convenient, and it's only for the people that you've given access to. So it's another great way to give you peace of mind, because when your door is locked and unlocked, you give access only to the people that deserve it or that you want to, and then you can revoke it anytime you want. Divorce, whatever it may be. If you need to revoke it from somebody, you can. So smart locks, another great way to go. And then going with smart locks, we've also got smart garage door openers. So you can control your garage door opener. You can see when it's open and closed. That's another huge thing. Leaving the garage door open when it comes to home invaders, they salivate at the mouth when they see an open garage door. So it's great peace of mind because when your door is open and closed. You can make sure if it is open, you can control it from wherever you're at. So smart locks, smart garage door openers, kind of the same family, but they are a great security deterrent for your home. So let's wrap it up. Let's kind of summarize. We got burglar alarms. My feelings on the burglar alarms. Controversial, I guess, but it is what it is. That's how I feel. Agree with me, don't agree with me, that's fine. But definitely use it as a layer. And again, anything that gives you more peace of mind, I'm all for it, because that's what we do. We give people peace of mind, and if it gives you peace of mind, and it works, I don't want to give you false peace of mind, but if it's something that works and gives you peace of mind, I'm all for it. So don't get me wrong when I'm saying, don't do this, but if you come in here, I'm just going to tell you that's what we've done. I've caught crooks for 25 years. I'm going to tell you my opinion. You take it for what it's worth, and you do your thing. But I am going to offer my guidance. I've talked to a lot of criminals over the years. I've had a lot of interaction. We've helped a lot of people with Silverhammer in the homes and communities all around our local area here. I've got a lot of experience in this, so I'm just going to share it with you. Take it for what it's worth. But you got burglar alarms. Put that sucker in there as a layer. Then you got camera systems. My most effective, personally, that's my personal opinion, most proactive. They're going to see them, go to the next house. If they don't, they're going to give the police evidence to get them caught. Bottom line. Then you got smart devices, smart lighting, smart locks, smart garage door openers. Again, smart lighting, make people think you're home when you're not. Smart locks, you got control over all your locks, make sure your doors are locked. The interior garage door, that's a door people never lock. I suggest putting a smart lock on that door. Because if a home invader does get in your garage door, yeah, if you've got that door unlocked, that's entry into the home. And it's a door people never lock. Put a smart lock on that sucker. Then the smart garage door opener, like I said, knowing that garage door closed, especially when you're at work or on vacation, big time peace of mind. And again, it's all about peace of mind. So again, thanks for the suggestion to our viewer. Appreciate it. You got any other suggestions out there, please share. I'd be happy to entertain, doing a video on whatever you guys want. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys watching. If you like this video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. We've got tech talk, we've got security talk about my crazy shoplifter stories from my loss prevention days. We talk about all of it here on this channel. Very happy to have you here. We've got another video coming up. We're going to do a little thing on Ring products. So stay tuned for that one. But until the next video, peace and love.